Okay, in this video I just want to walk through a little bit of the United States Constitution, which here is a website for it, and this is a transcription of it, which means it's just they've taken the Constitution and put it into another written form. And so the Constitution begins with these kind of like famous short sentence. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, which is from 1776, often get thrown around as if they're the same document. They're not at all. The Declaration of Independence was members of the American colonies saying they wanted to be independent from the British. This document, the Constitution, is actually a government formation. So the Constitution this is how the state, okay, the government, how the United States will be governed. Okay, this is how the United States is going to be linked together. So it's we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. So here's the goal of forming the state. More perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, that means peace at home, provide for the common defense, right, defend yourself from other states, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Posterity would be our children and their children and children, those who come after us. Do ordain and establish this Constitution. Okay, so the Constitution is in several parts, and the first three are about the branches of government. The first article is about Congress. Okay, so the first main item is Congress, which is broken into two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay, so all legislative powers are granted to Congress. So legislation means making legislation, making laws. And you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 articles, or 10 sections to this. Okay, the second article is the executive power shall be vested in a president. So executive is executing the laws. So who goes out, what part of the government goes out and makes sure the laws are followed, are obeyed, and that is the president's kind of position. Then the third article is the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So there's going to be a Supreme Court that's going to judge the laws. The judges, Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices in good behavior. And so then here's what they do. Okay? Now what I want you to notice is how little attention is paid to the judicial system. So that's it. That's all we get for the judicial system, so the judges. Okay, this is the executive branch right here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's it for the executive branch. Okay, so a couple paragraphs. And then this is what we have for the legislative branch. Do 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 do. It goes on and on and on, on and on and on. So when the United States Constitution was written, most of the attention was about Congress, who was going to be making the laws, who was going to be writing the laws, and little attention was given to the executive branch and to the judicial system, or a lot less. Then Article 4 is dealing with full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state, which means these are kind of like other things that the government's going to set up, like basically each state is going to respect the other states. If you're a citizen of each state, shall be entitled all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states, meaning if you have rights in one state, you have them in the other. New states may be admitted, so we can take new states in, but it can't be erected. A new state can't be made within a state that already exists. And so there's just other kind of articles here, okay? Other things for how the government is going to work. Here's how it's ratified. And then the United States Constitution is open to amendments. Okay, so it can be amended, it can be added to, and Originally, there are 10 amendments added right away in what's known as the Bill of Rights, and those are things added after the fact, and so those are things like you don't have to perjure yourself, you don't have to speak against yourself. But what I want you to do is look into the Constitution. It's how the state, the government, is set up to work in the United States. And there's lots of discussions as to why. Why do you have these different forms? There's notions of like checks and balances where the different branches of the government can check up on one another. But I want you to look into the Constitution. I want you to kind of read through it, get a sense of it, because this is how the United States government is set up. And it is that way today, right? There's a Congress with 2 houses. There's an executive branch. There's a Supreme Court. And there's all this conversation all the time about these bodies and the people who are in these bodies. But very few people have actually looked at the Constitution itself, have looked at what it says, what it doesn't say, and they just kind of like make claims. And what you'll find as you read the Constitution is basically a lot of people are, and a lot of government bodies are doing things that like aren't there at all. Like the executive branch seems to make law, and the judicial branch or the legislative branch tries to enforce law, to execute law. So that's what you're doing for this reading, is to look into the Constitution.